So yeah, so then I think we were talking about fill rate before we took a break. Um, so we've got a bunch of these reports. We talked about availability. We talked about the fill rate. So just to kind of say that again, the primary difference between the availability and the fill rate would be availability is what was initially available with you when the order came in, and fill rate is how you actually fulfilled the demand, irrespective of the availability. So fill rate is what actually happened, and availability is what was there in your inventory when the order came, like the initial availability.
So we could identify if individuals weren't transferring ASCO stock because we'd have
Correct.
availability but a lower fill rate.
Absolutely. That's the kind of like
Interesting.
stuff. So something like this, like if you wanted to see maybe some of your major manufacturers, that would be Case, I think.
Definitely one.
Case. So Case, it says your fill rate with transfer is 73%, and your availability was 88%, so almost 15% of the time you're not transferring, you're choosing to rather raise a purchase back order. And there might be relevant reasons for that, but you know, it'll highlight those.
Awesome. Yeah.
And then this one here is basically telling you how your fill rates are by the customer. So I'm just going to make a percentage level copy of this so that it makes a little more sense.
Is that something we're going to be able to
Sure, yeah.
filter on and off the with transfer, without transfer? Or is that something you do behind the scenes?
Well, you're going to be able to filter. That's so yeah. So this is essentially giving you your fill rates by the customer. So now I don't know why things are going slowly. Okay, so now when I tap on this particular customer, it tells me what my fill rate is for that particular customer in terms of percentage. So yeah, I think we're fine now. So if you want to, like, this is volume wise, this seems to be our one of the big, like highest customer, like the biggest customer volume wise. And then that's your fill rate. And then this one, I don't know what cash account means, but
It means history.
yeah. So essentially, it's gonna let you look at an individual customer's fill rate, uh, and you play with it. You could look at top 10, bottom 10, see what's going on where, so that kind of can come in handy that way. This we just briefly saw. This is by the manufacturer. You are looking at what your fill rate is, what your branch level availability was, and what is your territorial level availability. So this would kind of tell you exactly the point you raised. So if for a particular manufacturer you are not transferring as much, or if there is a big difference between what is available and what you actually fulfill, it's going to highlight that with this numbers.
Where did you access the by manufacturer?
So line, so the tab next to the, so it's a tab right next to the customer, like at the report level.
Oh, okay.
And this is going to tell you what percentage of fill rate is, how different is your fill rate from your availability. And you can look at Volvo, so 65 is a branch, and 80 is a territorial, and 72.32 is what your actual fill rate is. So, you know, based on your availability, it could have been about 80, but then there are times when you're not transferring. Does that make sense? Any questions?
Now, when this says initial branch, this is looking at the company as a whole, so we would have to drill into one branch, is that correct?
Yeah, not really. So what it's saying is, for whichever branch the order came in, so in the case of, let's take Chase as an example. So what this is telling you is 70% of the time, the order that came in was available with the branch where the order came.
I see, I got you.
Yeah. So it doesn't have to go through, I mean, of course you can break it down and look at the specific branch as to who's doing well and who's not. But as a whole, even if you look at it as a whole, it kind of would give you some information.
Oh, yeah. Very cool.
Then we look at the inventory. Yeah, the revenue stuff, I think on the dashboards. So this is similar to what we saw on the profitability side. The only difference is now this one is just for the parts. The numbers on the dashboard might be showing you the entire company right now. I need to push this change. But yeah, so this is essentially giving you your profitability numbers or your sales numbers for parts department only. So it's very similar to what we saw in the profitability analysis. So let's not, I'm not gonna go through details. I'm just browsing through it too.
Do some keys in here? Thank you.
Okay, so this one is telling you, just giving you a quick comparison what your freight expenses are month over month, what is the freight revenue month over month, and then you can look at it by the branch of the manufacturer. I don't know, do you have a recovery account? It should have shown the recovery account if you have, like, are you recovering?
We do.
So I think this is what it tells you, right?
Yeah,
The
that's
revenue,
probably that
yeah.
freight revenue line.
Yeah, so the net is basically, the total is essentially the net. And,
Mhm.
you know, you need to kind of look at, okay, where it's negative, why was it negative?
That is not a good job. Considering we're supposed to be making 40%.
Yeah, so year to date, we're still positive, but,
Individual month, you are,
oh, but it's June and July that are negative. I bet we've got some things that aren't applied or something. Maybe? I don't know. No, that doesn't make sense. This isn't paid status, it's what was on the ticket, or the invoice, I mean.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's not good.
We're gonna have to look into that.
So that drastic difference between May and June,
Yeah, it's probably something with thing is.
it's probably that NDS marked up her freight for us automatically. We'd put the cost in and it would automatically suggest 40% markup.
Huh?
So
During the
People are not
creation on the album?
uh,
Like you would, okay.
so I'm guessing now that that's not automatically coming in, they're probably not marking it up like they used to.
And when they would receive it, they could receive it with their parts, and it would drill back to the sales order. So now they could be forgetting that second step. We're gonna have
Right.
to keep an eye on this one.
Yeah. I've also noticed if they don't receive the freight, it invoices the part line, I guess only for customers that don't have ship complete checked. We had a little while that it was trying to do 2 invoices, one for freight and one for parts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, customer's not gonna like that.
Yeah.
Especially if he hasn't got his parts yet.
Yeah.
Okay, so essentially, I mean, I'll give you a pointer to something else to look into.
Real quick, Mitsu,
Yeah,
looking at the parts gross margin compared to, year to date, is that really saying that we're down that much, $8 million over the prior year?
no, this is your number.
So it's 9.06 compared to 9.22.
Yes.
Oh, okay, awesome.
And just hit refresh your browser and
I'm looking,
no, tap on one of it. I think that needs to get corrected.
oh, okay, awesome.
Yeah, we need to change some of that. It's, I think,
So
should be.
when you
It doesn't automatically.
fix a report, you have to delete the visual from the dashboard and re-add it.
Absolutely. It doesn't automatically do it.
Anybody submitted that to Microsoft as a
Oh,
feature
yeah.
request?
We have been behind them on that, but they're doing something. Something should come up on
Yeah.
that fairly quickly.
They seem pretty good about
They've
development.
changed. They were not that good a few years ago. Last few years, something's changed, and they're doing a good job.
They've probably seen this as the future.
Yeah, I mean, the stock prices are all-time high. They're doing really well. Okay. And then this one's again gonna give you, again, so if you start maintaining your PSSRs,
Uh-huh.
on the customer level,
Okay.
you can get that breakup by the rep and by the customer.
What are we looking at?
So this one is-
Sales margin.
So we saw the sales by customer, and
So-
sales by sales rep, essentially,
And
your
it
parts
says
rep.
parts.
Yeah, parts, PSSR.
Okay.
So I could pull in the rep that you maintain at the,
Yeah,
Our
internal
level.
or external rep, I guess.
yeah, external rep, but that is again gonna have lots of needs.
Right.
So,
Is there a way to see that by internal rep, so we can
yeah,
see?
absolutely.
Who's at the counter, whatever.
Oh, this is great.
Are these your internal reps? Do you recognize the things?
Mm-hmm.
Those are internal reps.
Yeah, so this is what they've done since they moved to Extend. It's just that before Extend was
Right.
going to show up there.
There's Armando on the very top. He's almost always on
Jeff Norris. I would not have guessed one.
I think he's back counter in San Antonio.
Oh, that makes sense.
I'm not 100%.
Through service. So this will only pull from, does this pull from any type of invoice or just parts invoices?
It's just parts right now. We just
Okay.
But it can do that for any time.
So
Right now
most
it's
of the
just parts.
PSSR stuff The reason nothing came up on external rep is we compensate them through the service department. We want them to,
There was something that came up on the,
oh, did it? Okay,
it just wasn't,
wasn't much.
yeah.
And they're not maintaining that actively when they're making sales orders. They're not,
True.
Yeah,
parts,
you're right.
yeah.
Most of it is going either to the house account or it's not maintained.
Yeah, our PSSRs are supposed to sell parts through service, try and get us both parts of the
Sure.
job. So my guess is that's where we'll see
All right.
that stuff. That's cool.
So that's on the parts side. Let's hop on to service.
Sure.
Awesome.
I want to pull up the report we used
So
to
have
do.
you, John, have you been processing your monthlies or is it not getting processed?
They were supposed to go, but the job didn't run. We've had a heck of a time with
Okay.
jobs.
All right. So, anyway, so this is essentially what one of the key reports on the service side is looking at the billing efficiency, the productivity, and the effective labor rate. And you could be looking at that by the individual service offices or so overall as a company, your billing efficiency. Now, billing efficiency essentially is if you have a job worth $1,000, so and you promise that to the customer and you flat rated it for let's say $1,000,
Okay.
and it turned out that you landed up
Right.
like the actual revenue would have been $1,200
Right.
had you not flat rated it. So you know that ratio is what this is. So you know, if it is in your 90s, you're fine, but if you're going lower, then somebody is flat rating. It's not flat rating, it's reading it.
Yeah, we have about half of our branches can get above 100.
Productivity,
They
In the
they'll
billing-
flat rate up.
the billing efficiency. Yeah, you're pretty good at billing efficiency. This guy is at 71%,
Kim Little. Interesting.
and I think he is from Odessa, yeah.
Interesting.
And the rest looks alright, like they're mainly in 90s, and this is 80s.
Shad Brown, Amarillo. All those guys.
This one's 80s. So you can just sort it in the other way around.
oh, that's super useful.
And then there are guys who are doing about 100 as well.
So product.
And this is just for 1 month, so this is just for June right now.
Right.
You could just make a selection to whatever you like. So this guy is the lowest in terms of billing efficiency. Okay, we're coming to productivity. Productivity is essentially your revenue hours, like the hours that generated you actually
Over
billed,
total hours paid.
plus the warranty, plus the internal, which is not a monthly or an expense book,
Right.
like a productive
Mhm,
internal.
mhm.
The summation of all three divided by the total
Paid
hours.
hours. Okay.
Total hours.
So it'd be
So that would give you, it's essentially 1 minus the expense hours. That is the
Right.
percentage of your productivity. So your productivity seems, it's giving a lower number. So the
Yeah.
way for us to determine whether it's an expense or not is we look at the monthly work orders.
okay.
What is the, industry standard on productivity, or what's the goal?
Our goal's 90%.
On productivity,
Yeah, and, we leave 10% to shop cleaning or training or
okay.
that type of thing. But we may need to look at the monthlies too. I think there's a few monthlies that are billed to other departments. So it may work better to identify the expense ones based on what's billed to
what's billed internal?
What's billed to service department?
Let's look at it. We'll get more clarity. There's another
Okay.
one. So yeah, that, and then so the invoice labor revenue is essentially what you invoice to the customer. The actual revenue is what you would have invoiced had you not flat rated.
Mhm,
If you
mhm.
have flat rated,
Mm-hmm.
what is the effective labor rate is essentially what is effectively the labor rate
Mhm.
for this guy, and then you can look at a particular branch. I think this is your,
Wow.
and then this tells you all your guys in that branch and who's ranking higher, who's ranking lower, all that stuff. Okay. Now let's look at the detailed one. This is going to give you more
That's what I was about to ask about.
So, yeah, so you said 90, right? So that's what we set up as a default threshold, and we could change that. And now we've arranged everyone in the ascending order to see who is your low performing guy and who are your in terms of productivity. So let's pick a one. So when you tap on one of the technicians with the lower productivity, it's actually giving you a breakup. In the prior month, in the month of June, this guy did 78 hours worth of expense work.
Wow.
53 hours of internal, 27 actual, warranty is 8 hours, total of 167 hours. And this is kind of how it breaks up. These are the kind of work he's doing. More points, rental check-ins, shop cleaning, he spent so much hours, throwing,
Rental check-in.
18 hours
Yeah.
on wash, that might be the wash.
Sounds like it's a
Yeah,
wash bay rental
we
guy.
can make that better.
So those would be two that I was in particular thinking of. Rental check-in and wash
Mm-hmm.
are both internal work orders that are billed to rental.
But are they productive?
They're,
Do you count us as productive?
yes, because service is billing rental and then rental's billing a customer.
Okay.
And there is an ID rate.
Yeah, yeah, it's
So you're doing
65.
so
something like
you're
that.
doing a monthly work order on that? No,
Mhm.
right? Why would you do that on a monthly?
Doing it on a monthly because,
Segment of the monthly.
yeah, one of the segments of the monthly. Because that guy's probably washing maybe 100 machines a day. Don't want him to
Oh.
check in, check out, check in, check out, check in, check out, over and over again.
Okay, that makes sense.
And really don't want Jason, our service manager, to have to open that many work orders.
So do you would put that on a month? How do I segregate that from what is your true expense? So do you want to segregate that by task codes instead of using monthly?
I know they have different service types.
Yeah, based on the service type. So can you send me the list of all your expense service types so that we can categorize that appropriately?
Somebody just finished a cheat sheet about that.
Okay.
One-page guide to all our service types. There's a bunch of them.
That's gonna be awesome. Yeah. So yeah, then we can change that ways. But yeah, so I just put in the segment categories as well. So it tells you, it would tell you what kind of expense work it did, and what was the internal work, what was the revenue. Komatsu will not start. I don't know why it says that.
Oh, yeah, probably. Some customer that wanted us to do the work, even though we don't. Komatsu dealership.
So yeah, this is something that we call as the detailed productivity report. Any questions? Does this make sense?
One from me. Very useful.
So, yeah. Let's look at what we have on the service analysis side. We've got a bunch of WIP report. This one's telling you how much is in your chargeable WIP, how much is in your non-chargeable WIP, and how much is in your warranty. Now, this looks weird right now because you have 70% of your hours seem non-chargeable. That's because you haven't processed the monthlies.
Probably.
And so that's why the expense of those are not booked yet.
Yeah.
Once you process your monthlies, this should come, you have 44,000 hours of non-chargeable. That seems
Yeah,
awfully high.
we're probably, yeah, it's probably because we're looking at 2 months of non-chargeable.
Non-chargeable, correct. So in terms of cost use, so, this is cute, but essentially they say about, I think 65 or 70% of your order should be chargeable, and they have these, so they'll kind of give you that breakup saying, okay, how are you doing in terms of hours, how are you doing in terms of your cost, things like that. But right now it's not, you can't be, we can't, unless you process the monthlies, it's gonna be, it's gonna look weird. So what's happening with the monthlies? They're not getting stuck in a batch, or?
For some reason, the job that was supposed to run to close them didn't run, and we didn't catch it in time to, I think we didn't catch it for a week or so. And by then, we'd already put a bunch of stuff from July in there, so couldn't really go back and fix it.
So now we're gonna process 2 months worth of monthlies together over this month end. So it should clear out in a week's time or so.
And then I think Rohit is going to send us a report of what should have been in June, and accounting is going to journal entry it back.
Oh.
Or might journal entry it back.
Okay.
You can make journal entries by uploading something, right?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay, and this one's a little bit just a distribution of your labor hours by different types of service and the task types. So it shows, like, for the current year, most of the time as an organization is getting spent doing internal trucking.
Okay.
Then there's warranty, rental, field repair, shop repair, allowed time. I'm not sure what that means.
Vacation.
Oh, okay. Yard maintenance. So basically, this kind of gives you the distribution, and then if you're maintaining the task codes and the task descriptions appropriately, it would tell you, okay, what kind of like field repair, and if you, I don't know if are you keying in the task codes?
We're just going to use repair and travel.
Okay.
And I'm not even sure if we're using travel yet. The main thought was to keep it very easy once we have
Service.
the mobile service. They'll just clock into travel or repair. Use service types as the.
Well, there's a flip side to it. If you wanted to track as to, okay, what kind of field repair you're doing more than the others, then those will be at the task level, right? So, I mean, and I'm sure you would have taken that decision during your implementation, but I'm just saying, so the thing with the BI is more you key, more
Right.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, you have to like not make it an operational nightmare for someone who's working in it. So it's like a balance you have to meet.
Yeah, I think our hope was to make it very easy for the tech, but then our service managers can choose the service type
Right.
to be based on what kind of repair it was.
Yeah, but then if your service type says field repair, it's
Right.
still very generic, saying, okay, what kind of field repair was it?
Yeah.
You know, what did
Huh.
you do? So,
I'm kind of surprised PMs isn't up there. Interesting.
PM is not up there?
I think field repair and shop repair should be our,
First two.
those are like our, if it's not something else, they fall into those two.
Okay.
So like a PDI is really a shop repair, or it's in the shop, but it's,
Yeah.
oh, there's PM.
Yeah, there is, but it's right
So
at the
some of
bottom.
that is in the shop, some's in the field, but it's,
Yeah, I
more
understand.
specific.
Yeah, yeah. But I think they're keying in as field repair and shop repair for the most part.
right. That, I'm guessing they're choosing based on the labor rates we have associated with those service types.
Labor rates could be associated with job.
Yeah, because they might not make the same rate on
Yeah.
the PM.
Yeah.
And we haven't fully gotten the PM system up and running for the planned maintenance.
I forgot you were there.
Sorry, so you're waiting on something on the PMs? If something's not working?
I think they're still
We're waiting
entering.
for all of our PSSRs to give us the machines and whether they're on a 30, 60, 90, 120 day service so that we can enter them in the service
Contract?
plan. Yes. And then I need to email Rohit, and he was supposed to send me some additional documentation on it. So, but I'm still waiting on PSSR. So.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that'll be like contracts. And do you have like ramp contracts? Do you have?
Yeah.
Yes.
Not as much as the PM. But,
Yeah, Jason handles all of those.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And this is WIP at sales, broken down by parts, labor, others, subcontracting, and again, this is breaking out by the individual offices as well. Your non-chargeable looks really high right now, but just ignore that for now until you get that month end fixed. But the chargeable one should be correct, and so should warranty.
We can
So-
probably almost divide the non-chargeable in half and get a general idea. Almost.
Yeah.
Well, no, never mind.
1 week.
Yeah. They.
Wait till the end.
Yeah.
And then this is just how much of monthly work orders are yet to be keyed in, because you know that these are straight expenses are coming your way. These, in terms of sales it's 55, in terms of cost is 15. So how much is it costing? And this is explicitly what's in WIP. This is excluding monthly work orders, whatever is in your WIP.
Oh, okay.
And then this is just for monthly work order as to what is there in the WIP for that particular branch. And these are all your rework hours, and so the guys who are not doing a lot of rework, and what is the corresponding dollar implication of that rework is what that is in.
And let's see, I can't remember how we're doing.
So you're putting an
rework
order type
versus-
as REW.
Yeah. So if we have a different tech do the rework for
Somebody
the one that screwed it up, it's going to show up here.
as the guy. No, these are the guys who worked on a rework order.
Right.
So how are you doing? Are you just putting it as a different order type, or you are marking that?
It's a
Are you-
service type.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's a flag on the service. There's a service type, correct? REW. But there's a flag on the work order where you say rework. It lets you link it to the original segment. Like, what was the original order that
Right.
you're doing a rework for, or what is the corresponding segment for which the rework needs to be done? If you get that, then we will be able to track who is the guy who's causing the rework rather than the guy who's working with the rework.
Shelley,
And
do you
there's
know if
merits
we,
to both the ways of looking at it.
Shelley, do you know if we have got them using that checkbox
For,
rework? Are they just using the service type, or are they hitting that checkbox to specify the original segment?
I believe they're doing the checkbox.
I
Awesome.
can check. Let's see how the data looks like.
Awesome.
Quickly check. Original. They're not doing that. Nope.
Not using it?
I don't see that in the data.
Okay.
Not even marking the rework. Because those REWs, I mean, when that checkbox is essentially a rework indicator.
Right,
So then even if you don't have that order type, it's fine, but
right.
it's not getting used. If you intend to track that, you might want to check if you want to see if you guys can start keying at it.
Of course, even then, we'll end up with half of them doing it and half of them not.
No, nobody is doing it.
Yeah, I mean, if we
Yeah.
don't in some way force them, but.
Let me see if they're doing it on any different order types. Nope.
Okay. Although I guess right now, they may not have an old work order to tie it to, since we're only a month and a half into this.
Sure.
They
So
may,
going forward,
we may need to remind them now
Right.
that we've got old work orders to tie it to.
yeah, that makes sense. Could be.
Unless there's an unlinked rework, fill out reference.
How? I can. Oh. So this is, looks like this is not going to be very useful. This is going to be useful if you are estimating the hours on your work orders, like when you.
I want them to eventually. Just haven't forced that.
Yeah. So when you get to the service tech application deployment, that's something that you might want to
Make part of that.
So yeah, so then it's going to give you the comparison of what was estimated and how much time did it actually take for whoever to complete the work order.
Right. The main reason I want them to do it is not really for the reporting, but more for if we've gone over the estimate, there should be an indicator. It should be blocked until they contact the customer and say, hey, that estimate I gave you, we're going over it.
Or it's too late.
Yeah. Great way to keep them from being pissed off later.
You're gonna be pissed off one way or the other.
Sure. This is just low-hanging fruit.
So, and this is again a very popular one. This is essentially calculating the average number of days it takes to cost the work order after the last labor date.
Huh.
So from the last labor date to the costings, how much time does it take on an average?
Oh, wow.
And you guys just cost when you, like your invoicing costing is the same process or you two-step process?
Same process. Yeah.
So let me just make sure.
It's really interesting. The guy with the longest number is probably one of our best techs.
See, this is not to be seen as a tech. Just give me 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so one thing to remember, this should essentially be foreman because we invoice at the segment level, not at the line level. The tech might not be responsive. This is an external sales rep. So this is, do you have formats?
I think we're using the technician as the foreman so that they could see what tech is assigned to what job in the
Technician as a foreman.
Yeah, we mainly just using the field so that they could actually. Can you explain that better, Shelley?
Actually, the foreman, we changed it on the screen to say PSSR.
Oh, got it.
Okay, so who is this person who is responsible for getting the work orders costed? Who do you hold responsible for a work order?
Probably the service
Manager.
And that gets keyed in as an external rep?
Let me go look. Hold on.
I thought we changed external rep to PSSR and changed foreman to technician.
Oh, I'm going. Hold on.
I think.
Because this is supposed to be the person who is in charge of costing.
Do it.
So we have the tech field, which has the technician, and then we changed the foreman to PSSR.
Are you sure?
I'm looking at the screen.
The technician field is not one that's there. We changed something to technician.
So I don't know what we changed to that. Well, let me go see if I can see in the documentation that I did screenshots before.
Orders. Should be able to see it in the personalizations, I think. Unless, of course, they're hidden from me because it's a company-wide personalization. Personalized form.
These are your foremans. Are these your foremans or they're PSSRs?
Those are technicians.
So your foreman is your technician.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mainly we were used to assigning a technician to a job, and to be able to see what technician, before we got this mobile app, to be able to see what technicians are on what jobs from the, whatever that screen's called, from there.
On the first screen?
Right. Had to have it in one of those fields, I guess.
Yeah, BI.
But we've only got 40 people with BI. And the service managers won't be them. But,
So you, then what would happen once it changes, once you have the tech application? So anyway,
good question.
So the point I'm trying to make is what should be the reps that we put on this report, because those are supposed to be the person who is responsible for getting the work order costed, or someone you hold responsible for that work order. Typically, we put foreman because it has to be something at the segment level.
Right.
Since the costing and the invoicing happens at the segment level. And we don't go down to the technicians on this, is because, there might be multiple techs working on one work order, and you don't hold techs responsible for not getting work orders costed.
You know, it would almost work to just put the branch,
Okay.
because then,
It's one per branch.
yeah, it's pretty much the service manager
So
at
let's
each branch.
just get rid of this to avoid confusion. Because then that's all we need.
There are some,
There
like in
are-
Odessa, where we have a service and a field.
That, I was gonna say, that might be the way to do it. If we do another graph that shows, service. Is there something else that would show field versus shop besides the service type? I don't think there is.
And then we should always, I think we should also put in the segment type here to see, say,
Right.
if you say chargeable, that's where, yeah, so the guys who take longer to cost chargeable is going to be a more of a problem. Then, because right now you have lots of monthlies open, right? So that's going to
Yeah.
add up to your days. And that is not an individual's thing. So.
Huh.
And then, so let's say this is 24.67. Now, if you drill down, it will tell you which are the orders. So SW 352 took 54 days.
Constant based invoice, but it's the same process.
Yeah, so I can get rid of one.
I was trying to think if there was something else that would be interesting to put there.
Let's just say days to invoice, make it simple. It's taking last 12 months average. Now we can change based on what you want, based on your selection. So,
And this is number of days since last labor. So as another, well, I'm not even sure if that would be, maybe it's best that way right there. Trying to think if it would be useful to have a second bar for each one that says average days to cost since open, but I'm not sure that's helpful.
Is there a way to put the
That'd be a
chargeable
way
and
for-
Yeah, I'm sorry?
could we have the chargeable and non-chargeable next to each other?
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah, just put segment type as the bars, yeah. Or,
So,
actually, can you make that a stacked column on
Yeah.
segment type?
yeah.
I think it's the next one. Oh, well, that'll work too.
It might be better to read.
Yeah. Easier to read the,
Because you can read the entire
Uh-huh.
branch.
we got plenty of room.
How about this?
Nice. I like it. Huh. I mean, the total length of the column doesn't really mean anything anymore, but
It does. tells you, yeah, total doesn't mean anything.
Right, but it gives you all that information on one sheet at least.
Right.
I like that.
So this seems to be your best branch. Does
By
it
that
not have
metric.
volume?
We still getting something.
Our best one is
I think
that one right there.
13.
Uh,
Yeah, that's not bad actually. It's pretty good. It's the warranty that you take long to cost for the invoice, right?
mhm.
If you look compared to
This is
Selden.
yeah, 24,
Yeah,
almost a month after.
and the one right below.
Yeah,
is
and it's always a good idea when you see such a number to drill down at the next level, because it could be like one odd service order that's bringing the average
Oh,
down.
like that.
So this would tell you,
5 days.
55 days in this work order. That's essentially bringing your, and then 34 days
So
in here.
that one there has one segment that's chargeable and one that's warranty, I guess?
Where?
The one where it's split?
Yes.
Okay, that's cool. Huh.
Okay.
Nice little color guide of what type of, that's really cool.
Okay, this one here is a quick operational plan. I don't know how much this would help you, but this is just telling you how many orders did you open, or did you cost in your last working day? How many did you open? How many new were open? How many got released? How many you got? Looks like you costed a lot of work orders on Friday.
Oh, that's probably when the job ran.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no, we're costing manually in service, yeah. So I guess we did. Interesting.
That might be when the word came down.
Yeah,
This branch is the one who did like a lot of costing on Friday. This is just an operation thing, volume wise, who's doing what.
Mhm.
They just opened one work order in one day, something,
that's interesting.
5 got released, 42 got completed, 89. So it's just kind of gauging and giving you the volume of the orders that one's going through in a particular service branch.
So what's the difference?
And costed and completed.
Oh, wait, never mind.
So you
Yeah.
open, you release the work order, you put in your hours, you mark that as completed. Once it's marked as completed, it needs to go for costing and then invoice. I mean, costing invoicing is the same process for you, but completed is the tech guy, the foreman telling you, okay, all my work is done. I've completed the work order.
And
Go
then
ahead.
it gets costed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I can't remember if they're using that.
Completed?
What? Let's see.
It should be.
Because theoretically, if it's complete, they should just go ahead and cost it. Oh,
Unless you have to,
unless you have more hours to put in, which would happen
unless
on
you
the
have
next
to talk
day.
to the customer about something, or
Right.
do some changes, or
Right.
give him some flat rate, or
Wait for him to come in and pay.
no, paying is later. That's after invoicing, right?
Yeah,
That'll be in your AR. Like once it gets costed an invoice, you send him an invoice and then he would pay, right?
right. Well, unless they're COD.
Huh. You
I
have
can't
CODs for service?
Mm-hmm. But we get to keep the machine until they
Oh wow.
until they pay.
That's cool.
It's called a utility lien, I think.
Yeah,
No.
it should be on those.
Something like that.
Yeah, I've heard.
If they signed the work order, the customer.
So yeah, so this, I'm not sure, I mean, it's just useful in the sense as to, well, we initially wanted to kind of highlight that, in a way that it would tell you as to how is your costing going. So,
Mhm.
if you see suddenly in the month end or the last week of the month, things start spiking, and then throughout the
Yep.
month it's kind of flat, it kind of takes a toll on your WIP, and your finance, I'm sure, keeps telling you keep costing and things like that.
Always.
But so it was that, but this is kind of a way to represent that. If you want to see something like that, that is also pretty.
Yeah, I like that because one of the things I've heard to combat the whole closing everything at the end of the month is to tell everybody their goal should be to always close, or to shoot for closing as many as you open each day, or something like that.
So they'll not open.
Yeah, it'll be 0-0. Open them all at the end of the month.
We can look at that.
So one of the metrics we have tracked in the past that I don't think I've seen yet, but I may have fallen asleep or something.
Oh, come on, don't say that.
No, that's more a comment on my sleep patterns than you. Is parts sold through service. We track percentage of parts sold through service, and then
The returns.
percent of, like, dollars of parts versus dollars of labor. And crap, I gotta find the file again. And I've got my desktop is too full. Oh yeah, there we go.
This is your trend. See? End of the month. On 27th, 436.
Mm-hmm.
Then it goes down. But it's not actually bad. I mean, there are some days in a week where they're costing actually.
But if you look at some branches versus the others, some will be so much worse at the end of the month. It's really funny. Yeah, there you go.
Oh man. It's almost like they're doing a lot of work at the month.
Mhm. And the thing it's interesting, people don't think about what that really means. It's not just inefficient, it's you're giving that customer 10 to 20 more days
Credit
not
for
paying.
no reason, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not even on your book, so you can't even
Right.
claim.
Right. Let's see. Parts through service. Let's see, the percentage that went through service, the gross profit on the parts through service, and dollars of parts per dollar of labor. So like
And don't we go for 1-to-1 on the parts for labor, I think, the goal?
yeah, goal's 1, but we've got some that are doing.
Can you say those things again, please?
Yes.
I'll
Got
just make a note.
customer parts through service revenue.
Just how much revenue you generated by selling parts to service.
Mhm.
That is easy. That we can get.
Gross profit.
Through service.
Through service.
Mm-hmm.
Percent of parts sold through service. So parts revenue through service over total parts revenue, basically. dollars of parts per dollar of labor.
Okay. And would that go in the parts workspace or the service workspace or both?
Probably service, just because we're used to sticking it in the service efficiency report. Don't want to rock Kim's boat too much. He's already going to be, going to have to spend a month with him for him to learn the dashboard.
I think he'd really like this.
Oh yeah, I think he will. He'll learn it just fine. He'll just have to
And you
relearn
look
it
at
if
this
he
by
doesn't use it.
branches, you're saying?
Mm-hmm. Let's see, is there anything else we track majorly? Oh, and I guess we do labor gross profit.
Yeah. When you look at what you, do you flat rate parts?
No.
Only the shop supplies, I think, get that flat charge.
That's right. So what, you see that for a month, year?
Monthly. Mhm.
Second. Okay.
Okay.
So parts. What do you call this? Yeah.
Let me scroll down one page.
Revenue?
Revenue close through service. Or even parts through service would work.
Okay. And then you said you get the gross profit of the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's quick.
And you needed the
Percent through service.
parts revenue by origin. And that I'll have to give you in a separate. Is that okay?
In a separate
Great, because
table. Oh, okay.
this is only service that's. And what else did you need? Dollars of part as percent of dollars of labor.
Right.
That I have to calculate, but
Okay.
typically.
Because the parts cube or
That's
parts
okay. The parts
data is
can,
not connected to the service data.
I'm thinking you can get both out of this itself. Like if you see origin, then if you say gross profit percent. That's right. Margin.
Hope that's not
Something's wrong. And that's all right.
Oh, was it adding it instead of averaging?
I'll fix that. Something's weird about that. But yeah, so once you get this, and then you need the branch. Is on service. That's another way to kind of look at that. And this would give you a percentage of total sales as well, like, dollars or part as a part percentage. So essentially, if another way to represent that would also be, and I'm just waiting. Okay, let's change this to this. Let's do this.
Nice.
So the one in blue says what is the percentage of their sale in service.
Right. That's cool.
Awesome. So the ones that are doing close would be 50/50.
Yeah. What's your target ratio? 90/10?
I forget. Through service, it looks like, yeah, it looks like 50%.
Yeah. You're almost there for the most part.
I mean, theoretically, the target is 100, but nobody gets there.
100 out of service?
Oh, we want to do all the service work for all the customers, but
Yeah, but then you got to
You
sell
can't get
parts when you can sell parts, right?
right. So 50 is a good goal for now because it's right in the middle of everybody.
Yeah. So this would very clearly tell you who's there, who's not there. So I put the others and try to put that on one report. The only thing is dollars of parts, like the labor comes in service, all of the rest.
Right.
I'll see, I'll figure something. So this is your, what do you call this, efficiency. I'm just going to roughly name it. We'll make it better later on. So yeah, that is on the service side. I think we covered everything important on the services. Warranty claims. Warranty claims kind of shows you have submitted or resubmitted. You have $367,000 worth of claim open in your open claims right now. 449 out of that is for Skadech America.
Mm-hmm.
This is the aging of the claim. Since you submitted the claim, how much time it has been that you haven't received on it. And this is telling you, in the current year, which are the guys who are denying you the most money. So what is the dollar value of the claim that they denied to you? It's just not much actually so far at least. And then here is essentially the recovery ratio. Let's just take 2018 for now.
So in the denied claims, is that
Once you
even if you resubmitted it and gotten it eventually, it's still going to show up as a denied?
No.
Okay.
If it's denied, like,
once it's
let's say you
finished,
submit it for $500, you submit a claim for 1,000, they give you 500. You resubmit it again for the remaining 500. They still give you 800. So then 200 is your expense, right? You have to expense it.
Okay.
That's when it takes it.
Okay. Cool.
And then this one here is just highlighting. That's all right. The claim's not submitted since days. So how much time it has been since the claim is open but it's not been submitted.
What's going on with the parts there?
Yeah, right. Let's look at that. I think there must be a.
That's just the business partner name, I think.
No. Well, this one. The days are very weird, right? So.
Right.
I'm trying to figure where that is.
How are all these claims? It's not costed yet. Is that how that?
No, it's costed.
Well,
It's not submitted in the open
So
source.
that one,
because I'm
that
looking,
can't be possible.
Yeah, that's not possible. I'm just wondering if there's something wrong with the date on that one. I'll look that up.
What was I think I've got that window open.
see, I'm looking at
Service orders.
SWO3, the very one at the top, and it has a cost of 0.
1 second, so it's 7371.
7371, service orders. 7371. And I'm gonna put a couple of zeros in there. Okay, maybe one less. (7/11/2018).
It's a 5-year claim.
So that's the order date.
Oh, we need the claim. I forgot how to get there.
Work order claims. I can open that quickly.
Warranty administration. Claims. Service order claims.
Seven three seven.
Dang, got the number back.
This is the. So this is the one which is open. The ones which is not submitted. It's this one which is open, and that's version 2 of what? Not sent. Oh, you have this Williamson status.
Huh.
I think that's for me to check because it has a date of July. I think it happened today, July 23rd, 2018.
Oh, some of those guys get here pretty early.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was in the middle of it.
Yeah, probably. So we'll know tomorrow. And I'll look it
Yeah.
up.
I bet they.
And then you were saying that some order you saw.
If you look at the very top,
This one?
oh, mine's showing a cost of 0. Maybe I need to refresh. Yeah, I'm like SWO3.
This one?
Yeah,
It has a
Mine's
cost of
showing
$300.
cost of 0.
Huh.
We are in the claims not submitted tab, yes.
Right. And then, are you on the screen?
That was the one I was on.
Let me walk over.
Some of my data is not. See,
Oh, yeah, mine's showing the same thing.
with the zeros.
Yep. Almost all of them are 0.
That's weird. But let me save it. Okay, let's do the browser refresh.
There it goes.
Cool.
Better? That was it?
Huh.
Much better.
Okay. Alright, so that finishes the service piece, on the inventory side, like equipment inventory. So this is essentially listing out the inventory by product category, so let's dive into that. So this tells us, what is the inventory by different product category. This one here is telling us, I don't know why, we should have, So this
The
is
unknown
telling
is an
us-
actual model that we're trying to clean up.
I think is this the model code or the name?
Mm-hmm.
No, that's the name, that's the model, so maybe, at this point. Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those, we couldn't clean up our terrible, terrible data in time for the conversion, so a lot of them came over as unknown. We're cleaning them up slowly.
Okay. So then, so this essentially lists out everything that you have in your inventory by different product categories, and then you could break it down by models or location or whatever you want to break it down by. And then this one here is listing out the models that you have sitting in your yard. They are your own stock, but they're physically in your yard. They're not out in rent. What is up?
Oh, okay.
And here it is basically aging your equipment. So this tells you what you have in your inventory that is aging for more than 48 months or 36 months or 24 months or so on. Okay, and then let's say if you tap on one of them, and so let's see, 28 months. Okay, so this tells you where do you have all this inventory which is aging for more than you really have so much inventory older than 4 years.
Mm-hmm. That's gonna be vehicles,
Okay.
fixed asset vehicle. Yeah.
So you want to ignore those vehicles? Because those are not really machines, right?
Yeah, we could probably ignore those.
Yeah, it doesn't have a specific category? Product
Yes,
category?
that fixed asset vehicle is all gonna be, in fact, I think the product category code is like CFVH.
Vehicles.
Oh, we got one too many C's. Third character, delete them. And change your L and your E. Yeah, that should work, hopefully. Of course, maybe I can't.
What is that saying? We have 301 trucks in Lubbock?
That's supposed right now. 300.
That's like, quite a few persons.
It's not changing. It's something else as well.
Fixed asset vehicles.
No, it did change. It's not lower. So
That's weird that it didn't get rid of that whole first bar, since its name is fixed asset vehicle.
oh, I just explicitly.
There must be something else to that.
I
There's
thought
no way that's all just asking truck.
Okay. Now it's better.
Wow.
Now it's
Okay. And that is dollar value, I guess.
yeah.
Oh, book value. And we probably want to change that to total acquisition cost,
Okay.
because we depreciate everything so heavily. Book value doesn't mean much on the operation side.
Right.
Yeah, it gets depreciated
Right now, to
pretty quick.
0.
Yeah, but did
Immediately.
it take 5 years, or did we?
Not anymore. Got 100% bonus for several years.
Okay.
You can straight out expense it right when you get it.
Really?
Trump.
Awesome.
Screws with your metrics.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what did that do to everyone's budget that was planning on their?
Well, the good thing is it means if they make a bunch of profit, they can depreciate their profit to 0 and not pay any taxes.
I have to change it to the acquisition cost. Really different. And then there's this one, couple of different ways to look at that. Everything that you have in your rental fleet, how many machines do you have in demo, how many is out on rent, how many are in your yard sitting as stock, for different categories again. And here are the same distribution by different manufacturer. And then you could, if you like, you could look at it as a percentage stack and see what percentage of your inventory is actually sitting in your yard.
See, that Dodge, that can't be rental fleet, could it? That would be.
It is rental fleet.
What do we have Dodge in the rental fleet? That would actually rent.
We had to put anything in, let's see, had to put anything that's depreciating in the rental fleet. So the service trucks went into the rental fleet.
But we don't actually rent those.
Right. So we'd probably change that vehicle filter to report wide filter, I guess. That would get rid of things like that Dodge.
Chevy Freightliner.
Yeah.
Where's Dodge?
Yeah.
I'll do that. Then you have Chevy.
It sounds like that would be good information to have, like this
Somewhere.
passage by
Yeah.
itself, but maybe not in with the
Yeah.
available.
Because they mean different things.
It'd be Ken looking at that stuff and
You
Andrew
have
looking at the stuff.
Freightliners as well? You have trucks, Freightliners?
Freightliners that are
All trucks.
in that same bucket. Trail King, Peterbilt. Yep. A lot of those are
Big
vehicles. Oh, goodness. I don't know why my allergies just all of a sudden went crazy.
It's Lubbock.
Because it got really windy. Something must be blowing in.
Better?
You're awesome.
You have Caterpillar lifts?
Just in a few branches.
You do a lot of Genie. Okay. So that's on that front.
It's not refreshing as quickly.
Okay, now on the utilization piece, you can look at, I don't know why the dollar is. Time. I have to check this out a little bit. So this is basically a dollar and your time utilization calculation. So the way we do the dollar utilization is the rental revenue divided by the total capitalized cost into 365
by 12. Or, oh,
available days.
right.
Days available.
Oh, okay. Cool.
That's how we do the dollar utilization calculation. Now, time is showing a little weird for you right now. I'll have to check what's happening. Time is simple. Again, we do this only for the machine on the rental fleet.
Right.
We don't do that for the sales fleet ones. And then the actual number of days the machine is out on the rent divided by the number of days it was available for. Now, the available of rent means if the machine was in the rental fleet, we consider it to be available for rent.
Okay.
So these are, we can look at this in more detail tomorrow because I need to work on some numbers and see what they're looking at. The dollar utilization seems fine, but the time utilization is just.
So if you go back to your notepad real quick, do you do those formulas per machine and then average them?
Weighted
or-
average. At
weighted
every stage, it's always weighted averaged.
Okay.
At the time, so when you go from the unit to the model, it's weighted average from the model to the category.
Okay.
And this is the American Rental Association, the ARA.
Okay.
Calculation.
Cool.
So this metric is being, like, in our application, it's ARA certified, like we are certified. That's what they do. We've had few dealers doing it differently,
Mhm.
and that's fine too. If you have a different way of calculating it, then you can just let us know, we can change that.
I was trying to think how different it would be if you took rental revenue for the whole fleet and then divided by your average total capitalized costs. You can't do that exactly. Never mind. It would be a estimate anyway.
Yeah, then in that case, you were valuing a 20,000 machine at an equal level of $100,000.
Right, right.
So
And you're assuming that whatever capitalized costs you have right now is what you had a year ago.
what AI also says is you should like apply a different weight for like the expensive machines and then a smaller weight for it. So you having a 40% utilization on a $20,000 machine is much better than having a 40% utilization on a $200,000.
Right, right. So when you say weighted average, if you have a $10,000 machine, a $20,000 machine, and a $30,000 machine,
How many?
and you would find the
How many 20,000, how many 30,000, how many 40,000, and 20 to 30, and then it would take an average of those and then collect
okay. So it would take an average
account
of
for
them
that.
weighted based on the original capitalization cost.
Correct.
Okay.
Which is essentially the acquisition cost plus any work order that you capitalize on the machine, because that was the
Okay.
cost it was required to bring the machine back on the rent.
Okay.
So when we look at the numbers in these but just give me some time. Some of it is weird, so I just want to study that a little bit before we start. That primarily covers most of the key areas. There are some revenue reports on the equipment front as well. It's similar to what we saw in the profitability. It's just that this is from the equipment perspective only.
Okay.
So, yeah. Those are really similar to what we saw. So just going over it.
Okay. Cool. Can you kind of go over the data structure, what fact table versus other tables that?
You can use a whiteboard.
I
can use my notepad.
Oh, yeah.
So, and this is only from the designing point of view that you need to worry about. If the users are just going to look at the report, they don't need to get into all of that.
Right.
So,
yeah, it would probably be
fact,
the four of us that are.
yeah. So the way this is structured is, what do you mean by the fact is, anything that holds a calculated or a measure is,
Okay.
any numeric value is known as a fact. That's a fact, right? Sale number is a fact. Revenue is a fact. Your margins are your fact. So those are called facts. That's why it's any value or
aggregation.
Yeah, your quantity is, all the calculated values are anything. Any number basically can be qualified as a fact. And then to give the value to this fact, we have all of these other tables like equipment, categories, and service branches, and those are called as dimensions. Whenever you're designing the report, it would always be the numbers and the categories, right? It always is that way. So the numbers would always come with the table with the prefix fact, and then everything else is just a dimension.
Okay.
Now there are instances where we have some elements in the fact table, but those behave like a dimension. We'll get to that, and we'll spend a couple of days letting you design reports. We do the design training. That's when we can cover that. And where we stand is, we've got a finance model and equipment, parts, what else? AP and yes. Service. So these are the primary data models that we have. And yeah.
So AP and AR aging are separate from finance?
Yes, those are sub-ledgers. They are separate from finance.
Okay.
But you could derive that out of finance. So anything you see in the parts or equipment or service or APAR, everything ultimately goes to finance. So unless it's a quantity based or like a utilization or a fill rate kind of an analysis, dollar wise, there is nothing that doesn't hit finance. So if you have to merge the two, then finance is saving.
Okay, cool.
So do you guys have a bunch of reports you need? We can kind of, how we typically do is like going forward, just focus module by module and get the list of reports, create them, talk about them, get you to create some, so that you get more and more familiar, and by the end of the week you already have most of the reports you need, and you can always play around with it. So if you guys have the list, you want to ask around to
financials would be great.
Yeah, so we can start with financials for tomorrow. That way, if we have to do the work, it gives us a few days to do the work. Do you have the end format of the financials? Can you send that to me? Like, what is the end picture that you are looking for as far as the financials is concerned?
So have you ever seen a green bar printout?